You're on. All right. The best time to talk about nutrition is when you're eating, right? Like it's all going to come together. I'm Lori Hill. I'm not Ty. I know you had Ty, and Tim. Now it's great. You're straight. We're good. I'm still Tim's wife. Nothing's changed in the past few hours. Today, I'm simplifying nutrition with MetFix, specifically relating how certain foods affect neurodivergent individuals. Okay, let's get this going because I feel like you guys getting a workout today is important. So I'll simmer down when I have to present to you. At the heart of nutrition, it's simple. It's one sentence that applies to everyone. Okay? Eat meats and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some starch, little fruit, no sugar, and no seed oil. Okay? To us, Ty, Tim, your clients, my patients and clients, my 17-year-old daughter, my 72-year-old stepdad with dementia. This is how we should be eating. And we're going to get into this in more detail. I'm going to go with the idea that we don't know what we don't know. So I'm going to go from some basics, roll it out, keep it understandable for all of us. We're not going to get into biology and mitochondria today and all of that. But I do want to talk about macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, and fats. All of you are ingesting macronutrients right now, right? Those numbers mean that for every gram of protein, that is 4 calories. Same for carbs, 9 calories per gram for fats, right? We'll cut through the silliness that fats are bad, even from a calorie perspective, right? Fats are great. So let's cut through to the facts. Our bodies were designed to make energy from protein and fat. Okay, everybody from childhood on, myself included, myself raising my daughter was like, oh my God, carbs are the most important thing. Feeds the brain, gives us energy, blah, 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 blah. It's actually like the biggest driver of metabolic dysfunction and poor health. So how did we get here? Through decades of industrialized foods, packaged foods, ultra-processed foods, McDonald's foods, all the different things. Addiction to food. Like how many people feel like if I told you couldn't eat sugar again starting in an hour, that you'd have a hard time coming off of no sugar fruit otherwise. I mean, be honest, it takes days to get it out of your head. I worked through a lot with my clients on the addiction of certain foods to help replace it with something healthy and move on. What else? We have watched our health decline collectively year after year, not just as like our state and our country, but like the world. We've watched health decline. Today's focus will be on carbohydrates because not all carbs are created equal. Okay, this is what I want us to focus on, and it'll all tie together again in comments. With the understanding that inflammatory foods and seed oils create systemic inflammation, meaning from like the brain all the way through, we can list what needs to be avoided. Okay, what are the top offenders that we can ingest that create this horrible inflammation? We'll start with wheat. All your grains, bread, pasta, starchy vegetables. Why? We'll just cut to the chase. You can go to Italy and eat their wheat and not feel like crap, get bloated, and have symptoms of being celiac like you do here. It's because we have FDA approved thing called glyphosate, which is a neurotoxin that's sprayed all over our grains. Gets down to the soil, spreads out. California wines test for it. The food in California, it's crap. Country as well, because these are FDA approved things that are sprayed on. So if you've ever looked at Home Depot in the weed killer section and it says like Roundup to kill the dandelions, which is ironic because there's a lot of health properties in dandelions. Glyphosate, that's what that is. So every time you're eating foods that are sprayed with it, you're drinking like Roundup. That's what I tell myself. Probably got past Italian and thinking I need to burn all the time. Dairy is another one. Dairy, because of what the cows are getting into, what's sprayed down, whatever it is, the way it's processed. They pull things out, they ultra process it. Now it's skim milk, all the different things affect that. Dairy, although it's low glycemic, it is a driver of insulin, which causes a lot of problems in people, less irritation in the system. Sugar, any and all type. Cane sugar, coconut sugar, date sugar, salt sugar. Seed oils, canola, vegetable oil, sesame seed, etc. Ultra processed foods, fast food, Doritos, cupcakes, muffins, etc. So to think of food in its natural state, like we'll just use corn because I just brought up Dorito. You go out to Brentwood because they always have like corn festival stuff. I grew up in Indianapolis, China. We pick it off the stalk and you have an ear of corn. That's the whole food, that's corn. And then we process it a little bit and we go to Safeway and we fill up the shelf and it's in a can. water and salt. That's processed. Then we go to public education and we get our free lunch and we grab a bag of Doritos. That's ultra processed corn. So that's like breaking it down from whole food processed. Okay. Regarding food dyes and chemicals that are found in mass in processed and ultra processed foods, these directly hinder brain function as well. This is super important for what we're talking about today to realize. So then, Lori, what kind of carbs are great for me? You should ask because I've made a list. All of our leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, zucchini, squash, asparagus, green beans, cucumber, celery, mushrooms, bell peppers, all the peppers. Carrots only in moderation because they are higher in sugar, and when you cook them, they get super high glycemic load. If you're going to eat cooked carrots, enjoy something that tastes better, like cookie you made or something. It's the same effect in the body, right? Eggplant, onions, snow peas, and then onto the fruits. You can see those are love fruits. Why are berries the best choice? Any guess?
Low glycemic.
Any accents of what?
Low glycemic.
Low glycemic. And what's something else that's in a berry and higher?
Antioxidants.
Fiber.
Oh, fiber.
That was the thing I was looking for. Yeah, fiber. So their fibers are very good. And yes, blueberries are like a super antioxidant superfood. We love them. Some more choices: cherries, apples. The Granny Smith means the green tart one that no one would go pick unless they were making a pie. Generally back in the day, but those are better because they're lower glycemic. Carrots, plums, peaches, grapefruit, and kiwi. There's loads of things that we can enjoy that are carbohydrate. What effects do these things have on the brain? It's actually more than you know. Okay. So the brain and your stomach are always working together. A lot of doctors, all functional doctors, say that the stomach is like your second brain. Okay. So far, so good, because you're like, I haven't heard that yet, but you've heard it now. Your brain signals to the stomach when you're hungry, right? So how many of us have been running around busy and then our stomach growls, right? Brain's like, hey, we're running low on energy. Let's make some food. How many people get super hangry and cranky if they go too long without eating? Okay, that's like hypoglycemia. That's like stage 1 on the road to prediabetes, right? That's blood sugar dropping. That means your body is not metabolically flexible. You're not pulling from protein, carbs. You're not pulling from stored fat to create ATP when you've not ingested enough food to drive that production, okay? So these are like clues that you now should be aware of for yourself when you're going through your busy days. Because all of us in here are coaches. And we've all gone 8 hours without a break and eating, right? So that metabolic flexibility, that burning stored fat for fuel is key. When your gut health is off, how does your gut health get off? Like, who's not heard of leaky gut yet? Everybody heard of leaky gut, gut permeability, gut problems, all that stuff? Yes. So the more crappy things in layman's terms that you ingest, the more you tear down the villi and the small intestine, you tear down gut health. And then all of a sudden, the bad bacteria starts overgrowing in the gut, right? So it's always a good and bad balance in the body. So when things get out of control, those bad bacteria are like those loud, obnoxious people that are just taking over the whole sound that you hear. And your brain's like, oh my God, what are we doing right now? We need some coffee. Why don't we go have a frappuccino? It's peppermint mocha season. Can you just kick pumpkin spice out the door? It's like, sorry, I know you guys like pumpkin spice. I know people do, but we're moving on. According to Starbucks, have the red ribbon right now. We're ready for the holiday, right? So the more you eat of that stuff, the more your brain thinks that you need that. You're not getting anything from the anti-nutrients other than feeding the overgrowth of the bad things in the gut that make you need it more. So that just drives that addiction, that craving. And then the gut dysbiosis gets worse and worse with that. Okay, so you never need sugar. You never need chips, but it sure the hell feels like it. Yeah, we've all been there. Anyone that says they haven't, we're not being honest with ourselves. I mean, I didn't understand nutrition fully and get to this level of health until 48 years old. So I have a whole backstory of how things go crappy when we crap. So when we have gut dysbiosis, leaky gut, bad bacteria overgrowth, whatever you want to call it, we experience more stress. Okay, so again, the brain's done that as well. Anxiety, moodiness, attention span reduction. Okay, these are all big. Poor sleep, low energy, etc. And we also keep craving the very things that created the issues, but then just it's like a vicious cycle, right? It just keeps it going. It's not what we want to be. So the tagline that I took from Tim is that the food you're eating is either building health or tearing it down. There's really no in between. You never just like, oh, it's a gray area. No, it's good for you or it's shit. And there's nothing in between. This is what we talk about all the time. This is why, as of this moment, nobody in this room likes me anymore. Because we talk about this, we're like, no. But we're just going to be honest with the fact. Here's the kicker, and I bring this up because just 2 days ago, a guy in his late 30s, healthy guy, has kids, runs like crazy, thin, not overweight, is like, hey, do you do nutrition 101s? And I was like, yes. But even though I've been here for 13 years, it still gets lost on the 200 plus members in the gym, what I do all the time. And I was like, why do you ask? Because I can't get my A1C down. And I'm like, oh. Well, do you eat a lot of carbs? Well, yeah. So I run. Well, that's why you're diabetic. We have to talk about that. So there's no amount of running. There's no amount. There's not a single thing on the market that lowers the insulin response from what you're putting in your mouth. The only thing that evens that out is the food that you put in your mouth consistently. Roll back that dysfunction and then allow yourself cheats here and there, right? So we can't outrun a crap diet. We can't outlift it. We can't say, hey, I've been really good. I go to church every Sunday and I tithe. So maybe I'm not going to be diabetic and I'm going to eat this cake every Friday, right? I really wish there was a way. Yeah. And once you've crossed the line and you've had the gut off or you've had the weight off or the high insulin, you really do have to toe the line because your body's like, I remember being overweight. I remember being insulin resistant. I love being diabetic because I loved all that stuff we were eating. You really do have to keep yourself in check, right? So when you're working with someone who is neurodivergent, removing sugar, processed foods, seed oils, fast food, soda candy, etc. is paramount because of the effects they all have on the brain. And now you're asking, why are you telling me this? I'm not feeding them. Because as coaches, a lot of times we are that first line of defense for our clients to help get them on track. Okay. So I would venture to guess 100% of us in this room have had a client of any age come from a party or a school party or a Halloween trick-or-treating en masse candy the next day, and they're just like mess, right? Extra hyper, extra angry. Like I've seen Tim's client who was pretty much nonverbal for a while, like come out of that, and he has a bad day and he's just like grunting and doing things and can't even process what's going on that day. And we have to be honest with the effect that these foods have this effect on our brain, right? For everyone, not just neurodivergent individuals, but for everyone. So you should say to the parents, because you have to have a good rapport with them, because you're caring for their kids of all ages that you work with, and say, hey, I noticed so and so, a really hard time today. Was there a party at school? Was it like a big reward day? Because no matter where you go, public, private, or otherwise, like the biggest treat that's given to kids K through 12 is like sugar.
Or pizza.
Huh?
Or pizza.
Or pizza.
It's like same thing, right?
Same thing. And then then the teachers get pissy. Your kid was off the hook today. And you're like, well, maybe it was a 3 cupcakes you had to bring to the party, right? Like, yeah, and then the kids come home and you're like, oh my God, what happened today at school? And I see it with my nephews when I go visit. My brother's like, man, a 6 and a 4-year-old boy are a handful. I'm like, maybe skip the half the donut, the fruit with yogurt, and the orange juice at breakfast. And then they won't like come out the gate like little crackheads running all over Washington. It's just like that. I'll be there in a month and I'll see that. And then I'll remind them how to work out and love meat and different things like that. So it's true. So basically, the things that we want to cut out, they drive anxiety, stress, attention problems, depression, sadness, addiction level cravings, which in turn drive bad behavior, meltdowns, pain in their body, headaches, mean behavior, withdrawal, and just to name a few. So there's a definite link between what we're eating and how it's affecting our brain, right? For everybody. Nobody is excluded from this at all. And it's important to know this. So I like to have solutions to things too, because there's plenty of research on the effects of sugar and bad carbs and processed food and seed oils on the brain for everyone. And there's also plenty of research of major deficiencies in neurodivergent individuals. And so I'm going to talk about the three, and then I'm going to show what these three supplements do, and then I'm going to show the signs that they're deficient in that. So you can kind of have a better idea to be like, have you ever considered like a liquid B6 for your son or daughter? 9 right? So B6 in the form of P5P, and you can screenshot this. I can email it to you as well, because there are different variations, but P5P is the B6 that you want. Methylated B12. Methylated just means that once it gets in your body, you can absorb it, regardless of genetic mutations or any kind of issues you have. The absorption of B vitamins. The MTHFR gene that everyone's heard about because it's so fancy now with expensive tests. Like 75% of the world has it. So there's a good chance one of the 12 markets somebody has. It's the methylcobalamin is the one that you want. And then methylated folate is 5-MTHF. Okay. There's a lot of research, especially with autism, into folate, because if anyone in the room has ever had a child, they have you take prenatals and there's folic acid in that. That's absolute garbage. You should be having methylated folate because that is what helps with the brain development of the baby. Okay. So we see a lot of deficiency in autistic children from that. P5P, the active form of B6, supports brain health in neurodivergent individuals by 1, enhancing neurotransmitter balance, supporting methylation and detox pathways, meaning that you ingest things, passes through the liver, you excrete stuff, right? And some of us don't methylate, break down things to absorb, and detox as well as others. And when that gets backed up in people, it affects the organ, the brain, the stomach, a lot of things. So supporting detox pathways is a huge thing. Calming, excited brain activity. Like sometimes you're overstimulated, right? It helps bring that down. I use B6 actually patients of any age that have major anxiety. Sometimes they can't even get to work, get to school, get to whatever. And I always go the natural route before I try this crazy side effect laced medications, because if I can fix things the natural way without other side effects that warrant the need for more medications, then we've done our job. If it can't be done, then we look to those other medications and try to dial them in. That's just my mindset. It reduces neuroinflammatory stress. So again, systemic inflammation, brain inflammation, reduction, promotes emotional and cognitive resilience. All right. So it can help build stuff back as well. Active B12, methylcobalamin, supports brain health in neurodivergent individuals by enhancing methylation and gene regulation. So again, for those that have a hard time absorbing the B vitamins that they need, this is methylated, and it helps enhance the methylation of the other things that they're taking as well for food supplementation. It supports myelin formation and nerve repair. Your brain is like 73% myelin. Your brain is mostly cholesterol, right? Which is why it's a whole other talk for why we don't take statins for high cholesterol and what cholesterol is. But if we're starving and not getting enough nutrients and the micronutrients and the good fats, the brain has problems from that as well. We're starving the brain, not just the body for food. Balancing neurotransmitters for mood and focus, promoting mitochondrial energy and detoxification, reducing neuroinflammation and oxidative stress. So the antioxidants we all talked about in blueberries, oxidative stress is that picture from like a beautiful field somewhere in the south, and there's an old Ford truck with a rusty bumper. The rust on the bumper is oxidative stress. And that's what happens inside of you from the seed oils, the junk food, the processed food, high stress, high inflammation. You are that rusty bumper. And there are ways to measure oxidative stress as well. Lastly, the methylated folate supports brain health in neurodivergent individuals by empowering methylation for gene and neurotransmitter regulation. So again, we're seeing all the overlaps in the different types of Bs. I love it. Enhancing serotonin and dopamine synthesis for mood and focus. So if you know anyone that's cranky a lot, like maybe 17-year-old daughter that I have at home, no, I'm kidding. It's just angst, it's high school stuff. But if you want to get their serotonin in there, dopamine and feel good, the natural, healthy way, like we feel after a workout, you do something super hard, you're like,
Yes.
oh my God, that was hard. I feel amazing. That's that dopamine. That's what we're looking for. At 5-MTHF brings that as well. It supports DNA methylation and neurodevelopment, right? So we can fix things that have been damaged. Reduces oxidative stress and improves detoxification and strengthening mitochondrial energy and cognitive clarity. So you can see why the B group is so important for really everyone, but especially neurodivergent individuals. So the summary, like how do I know if somebody needs any or one of or all of these? Fatigue, brain fog, poor detox tolerance. If you have clients that always have tummy aches, they start working out and they have to run in and poop, right? Because they're probably like holding on to things and having a harder time releasing. You'll notice it in their skin, the ashy skin. I mean, I know I'm tired because I didn't sleep much last night, but like when younger people have like the bags under their eyes and their skin's just saggy and they're just kind of coming in like that, they're definitely in need of some deep support. Mood instability, anxiety, ADHD like symptoms or ADHD itself, sensory sensitivity, sleep issues, physical signs like tingling, poor circulation, hormonal imbalance, elevated homocysteine or no methylation SNP. So if any of you ever get into genomics, run DNA, that's especially there. I can swap someone's cheek, send it off, get the 14, 15-page report back and be like, oh, we have a few things to fix, and it's as simple as a B vitamin, right? This is my information. So if you want to ask more questions, if parents want to know how they can meet with someone, we'll literally sit down with them and say, okay, your kid only eats 3 things. So how do we food prep those 3 things and always have some ready to go and like throw in the air fryer or something like that to make it easy on the parents? Because I'm not saying any of this is easy, changing all the food, but it's worth it. So that's when I come in. So Chad and I talked about it. Like if you know any of the parents that want 101s with someone that understands all the nutrition and just can help make it easier for the whole family to make sure everyone's eating better. And the chicken nuggets that are your child's favorite are there, but a healthier version made at home in clean oil. That again, you can make tons, freeze half, take out, a container a week and air fry them up, and they're getting like good organic chicken and a not wheat-based breading with an avocado oil instead of canola oil. We've just done something amazing for them. So that's what I want to drive across today. Any questions? Because everyone's like, gosh, that's a lot. I know. That was the, yes, sir.
Where would you get like a good bulk amount of chicken that like you would recommend? Like, is there something healthy from Costco that you'd recommend?
So they do have organic, right? So, I mean, the crazy thing now is that it's not that much more expensive to eat healthy than like go to fast food. It's like 15 a meal now for like a burger, fries, and a drink. So at home, we'll do the boneless, skinless thighs and breasts that are organic from Costco when I'm feeling like I'm super rich. I'll give you at the farmer's market. Sprout is a great place to get high quality chicken, beef, pork for a lot less. Whole Foods is still the most expensive that I found. Yeah, the Costco you can. Great question.
Yeah, they have organic free range like chicken at Costco. Yeah, they have like the different tiers.
Yeah,
like
they do. It's great.
You just gotta look.
I've seen them. I just know that you can't always like trust the labels that much.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you had a specific one.
Yeah, we'll do that. We definitely do the ones at Costco because we, I mean, each we love meat. It's expensive to feed Tim, myself, and our daughter. So, any other questions before I send you back to the guys? Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is like your realm of things, but I know like for my clients, and like even like my sister is a client of ours as well. They use like food to motivate them a lot. Like that's like a big, I don't want to say issue, but like kind of a problem that a lot of parents run into. It's like, Dad, you're gonna have the fun second back down minutes so that my kid doesn't keep track of you while they're like working at,
Yeah.
So like I don't know if you have any like recommendations or like
So one of the things, yeah, I was a room mom like K through 5. I taught UNR. I remember throwing candy out at college kids to just get them to pay attention. We've all done that. You don't know what you don't know, and that was like 23 years ago that I was teaching UNR. I've noticed a lot of teachers and coaches go to fun, inexpensive toy like gadgets or things or shiny objects to motivate now. And I love this because it just takes all the food aspect out of it. Because if we can't motivate them with a food that's actually feeding their mind and body, then we're actually doing more harm than good to try to focus in. Plus, the sugar will actually make it harder to focus and drive more behavioral issues because it's sort of like scratching a scab and because it itches, right? Like the sugar is in the brain. It's just like, the overstimulation of everything. And so I would say definitely like back in the day, the magazine that always came to mail was the Oriental Trading Company, and they have all these little trinkets that are like 1 to 2 cents each. I have no idea what it is now because my child's 17. I've not bought anything from there in a while, but even at the Dollar Tree, they'll have bags of little fun erasers or something that they can't hurt themselves if they're anything like that. And it's so excited to win. I also know that teachers are now going back to the old system of like stars on a chart, like, oh, I got a gold star today. Yes. You get to put it up. So like you're training your client and they're having a hard time and she doesn't want to get on the assault runner. We get him on and he gets off the thing. He's like, oh, and you're like, who got a gold star today? And you whip it out in your pocket and you've got your little chart or you have his little foldable chart with you. And then they feel pride in them. And so it kind of reinforces what we're doing too, without just like sugaring them up to send them back home and have a hard time settling down. So those are just the ideas that I think that I know that I would definitely do if I still had a little kid. Hindsight's 2020, right? Like, yeah.
Question. I have noticed that there are parents who don't bring water to the sessions. Thankfully, we have water.
Yeah.
But I'm like, let's take a water break. Oh, they don't need water. So like, I try to get them to, like, no, they have to sit down and drink a little bit of water. But some of them really push. I'm like, no, they don't need any water.
Yeah.
Or like, even like, if they have a lot of energy and they don't know how to take breaks. And so there are certain things like with me just lying down on the mat and then just like teach them how to relax. But I have noticed that there are some clients that like they don't drink the water and they won't take a break.
Yeah.
The parents are like,
It's hard.
have so much energy.
They're like, they'll do better like managing the energy if they're hydrated. The side effects from that are a whole other side presentation, right?
Yeah.
I'll talk to Chad. Something we could do for regardless of which location you're at is just have a fun handout, just guides for parents like, hey, we've noticed that kids that come in with their water bottle are more likely to have breaks with us. And then we've switched over to the gold star system or this reward system with this. We ask, please don't, give your children a lot of sugar before they come in because they get more out of our hour together when they're not just like bursting at the seams from the full-size bag of M&Ms that they had to get them to, comply. And then, of course, hey, parents, you want a one-on-one? Like, let's get in here and talk about what we can do. And again, I'm not saying it's ever easy. The solution is easy. It's hard to do, but it makes such a huge difference across the board. I mean, there's so many studies now. And like what you're learning today to like really tie all together is there's a woman in Silicon Valley that has created a wearable for her autistic daughter, and it actually monitors how much like weight training and high intensity, more CrossFit based workouts does for their brain and their development and their sleep and everything. So, I mean, you guys are out there changing things for the better. And this is just one more aspect of it. So the more we can slow drip to the families, because again, they don't know what they don't know. Like doctors don't even know. They get like 1 hour of nutrition training, and it's like, why'd you waste that hour? You don't glean anything from that, right? So, and then give us feedback. How can Tim and Ty and Lori help you guys with a handout that Chad proves and that everyone just has? Because then the time you're with your clients is like the best hour instead of just like, man, it's only been 20 minutes. I feel like I've been really trying to engage for like, 4 hours right now, right? Because it's hard when they're unable to focus or they've had a bad day or it's too full of the chemicals and the sugars and they just can't pull it together at that moment. Any other questions? No, you guys are awesome. All right, I'll give you back to the boys. Thank you.
Thank you.
You